We're going to get started, gentlemen. Welcome to your town meeting. The town clerk has informed me that we met the quorum of 50 people at last count. I declare the 2023 annual town meeting is in session. To honor the work that our service members do for our country every day, our invocation will be read by a Longmeadow resident with a long history of service to our town and our country, Stephen Metz. He spent 28 years in the Navy, including both Reserve and regular Navy. He retired in 1991 as a commander, Medical Corps. His wife Sandra and he came to Longmeadow, where he practiced medicine for 23 years, retiring in 2014. Dr. Metz.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Moderator. We have come together in civil assembly as a community in a tradition that is older than our Commonwealth itself. We come together to make decisions about our community. As we deliberate, let us advocate for our positions, but not at the expense of others. Let us remember that there is an immense gap between saying, I am right, and saying, I believe I'm right. And that our neighbors with whom we disagree are good people with hopes and dreams as true and as high as ours. And let us always remember that, in the end, caring for each other in this community is of far greater importance than any difference we have.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I welcome Cub Scout Pack 94 of Longmeadow Color Guard, who will be followed by Catherine Carnahan, president of the freshman class and student athlete, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We will have a moment of silence afterwards. For all those who are able or wish to do so, please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kindly remain standing and offer a moment of silence both to remember and honor those service members who have sacrificed for our country. Thank you. Now, before you sit down, the members of the Swedish Fish, a student-run LHS music department a cappella group, will perform the Star-Spangled Banner. They are in the middle of the audience.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that
Thank you very much. And thank you to all of the folks who just helped out with this. Thank you, Cub Scouts. This is their debut. They've never brought the colors in at town meeting before. I welcome you all to town meeting, our town's legislative body. To any first-time voters and to visitors, I offer a special welcome. Town meeting is a local legislature, and for those who are newer to it, it is one of the functions of the annual town meeting to bring our community members together. This is in part through the celebration, via awards and recognitions that we will have in just a moment, but it's also a chance to come together in civic assembly to remember those who we have lost in the past year. So we remember people best through what they offered our town and through how their actions served our town. And I wonder if the slides could be advanced, please. This is a list of folks who have passed away. All right. David C. Forsyth, Carol Creelman, David John Fleming, Stephen M. Langieri, Frank Yesu, Richard Barry, Barbara Sudnick, Dorothy Mary Reed Andringa Thompson, Ellen F. Binney, Mildred Louise Campbell, Dorothy Carmody, Lori L. Fenton, Donald Fuller, George E. Griffin, William Bill Halloran, Cynthia E. Hepburn Parentella, Edith Huck, Kirby Edwin Judd, Diana Lynn Ferreira Landry, Roger Camille LeBlanc, Daniel Lessie, Maureen Burns Lorenzotti, James H. Lutat Sr., Fritz Maycock, Margaret Mary McCracken, Fred R. Mealy, Peter A. Santos, Irma B. Schwartz, Catherine P. Shannon, Erin Spear, Ruth D. Tompkins, Beverly C. Gray, Mary O'Connor Dowd, Marilyn Hurst, Robert Peter Landon, Sally R. Moordad, Vivian E. Posson, and John D. Shuttleworth. Thank you all for remembering them tonight. I now turn to Select Board Chair Joshua Levine for award presentation. Go back.
The Citizen Commendation Award is awarded to individuals who perform an exceptional act or service wherein their contributions, performance, and achievements provided exceptional benefits to the town of Longmeadow in a given year. Citizens nominate a person, organizations, and/or groups for a commendation award who deserve recognition for performing a service or act beyond what is normally expected in service to the town or community. This year's recipient of a Citizen Commendation Award is Mary Beth Bergeron. I'm going to read a bit of her nomination from Judy Yaffe. Mary Beth has devoted countless hours to the town of Longmeadow as residents over the years. She is the chair of the building committee and has devoted hours of her time with both the DPW and the Longmeadow Adult Center. Mary Beth was instrumental in forming the nonprofit Longmeadow Adult Center Community Center Fund, which has raised a significant amount of money to be able to support programs, furniture, and upgrades that the Adult Center needed to make it the best center in the area. She worked with the architect and program manager to make sure everything went smoothly and helped raise funds for finishing touches for the building. Since the building is open, the LACCF has sponsored some wonderful, enriching programs that have brought record numbers of adults to the Adult Center every day. The monthly international dinners, in particular, are orchestrated by Mary Beth and her committee from the LACCF and have been incredibly popular with a full house each month. And finally, maybe most importantly, Mary Beth has been the driving force for Food for the Soul, a program at St. Mary's Church. She buys the food and plans the meals, and then she and a group of volunteers make meals every Saturday to distribute to people in town who need meals for the weekend. Mary Beth's passion and dedication to reaching those in need in our community really shines through in her drive to provide the comfort and support of a fresh, warmly prepared meal. On behalf of the town of Longmeadow, I'm proud to present this year's Citizen Commendation Award to Mary Beth Bergeron.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mary Beth. And thank you, Select Board Chair. I learned that there's another quick recognition I need to make. Deputy Fire Chief Gerald J. McSada, is he here? I heard he's retiring. So just a quick shout out to him. And a quick announcement for LCTV. The LCTV channel have changed. They're now on Comcast. Channel 9 is now 1070. Channel 12 is now 1071. Channel 15, 1072. Channel 809 is 1074. And there's other places to find that information in case you didn't memorize that. So I'm going to go through some general housekeeping rules, but I want to draw your attention to the back of the warrant because I'm not going to share all the rules. Most of the ones you really need to know about are in the warrant. In the event of a fire or other emergency, exits are clearly marked at each of the doors. Go to the door that's nearest you. Should you need a hearing assistive device, please inform one of the folks with the blue vests or the lanyards that say counter, and we will loan you one. Visitors all sit in the designated section. Children may sit with parents or guardians. And should we need to hear from any non-voters with expertise or specialized knowledge of a project before town meeting, I permit some non-voters to speak. Town department heads, directors, superintendent of schools speak on matters related to their department. And the following non-voters have received prior permission to speak: Jack Arnold, Mary Kate Stevens, Jide Olivanju, Diana Pun. Those are the only folks who have been granted, the non-voters who have been granted prior permission. The other way that our community comes together is through shared decision-making. We listen to each other, we consider advantages and disadvantages and trade-offs, and we recognize that even if our position fails to win the vote, that we have been heard. If we do win the vote, it's not a victory, but a decision. We agree to adhere to a set of rules to guide our work. And if you have any questions about those rules, just ask. Some basic ones, though. When you come to speak, please stand at one of those center microphones, whether you're in favor, opposed, or have a question or wish to make an amendment. We vote on motions, not the articles. So you may hear a slight difference in the wording based on what you're reading, and I will alert you to that. There are about 2 minutes at those microphones, please. And if you have any questions for how to accomplish something, ask me. There's no cross-examination. We are speaking in a civil way, on topic and concise. We are a legislature, not a public forum. We are using electronic voting devices at this meeting. Everyone keeps their device on them at all times, whether speaking or sitting. If you have to leave to go to the restroom or stretch your legs outside, just wear it with you. No one is permitted to leave the gym without their device. You may not tamper the device. You may not give the device to anyone else. And when you leave the high school, you'll put it in those plastic baggies. The numbers don't mean anything, don't mind those. Put it in the baggie and put it in a red bin that is right outside the door. So our voting is fairly simple. When I announce the vote is now open, you press 1 for yes and 2 for no. The other buttons do nothing. The button with the paper airplane clears the screen. You will have 20 seconds from the moment I open the vote to when the vote is closed. If you try to vote before I open the vote, you will see letter A or B. Once you have pressed 1 or 2, you will see that number on the screen along with an OK on the screen. That OK means that your vote has been received. If you forget to vote, you forego that vote. We will test the devices soon. If you notice any problems, raise your hand immediately. And in order to test them, I selected 5 random numbers. And so look at the back of your clicker device, and if you have one of these numbers, come on down. You win the audit lottery. 160, 173, 347, 354, and 473. Come on down. Because what we're going to do is run through some test votes, and you can see how the system looks and verify that, yes, your vote has been received. We're going to run through 3, like right here. I don't bite. Lucky winners. And we may not have had all of those numbers handed out, but at least 2 of you will get to see how things work. So we'll all do this vote, these 3 sample votes. None of this is binding. So coffee is better than tea. Vote 1 for yes, vote 2 for no. The vote is now open. Have you voted? Okay. Once Mike alerts me that the 20 seconds is up, I'll close the vote. Is it Mike? Okay. I don't keep track of everything. All right, 5 seconds, then the vote is now closed. We've got 134 people who believe that Coke is better than Pepsi, that coffee is better than tea. Now, could you please tell the town clerk how you voted, and then check to make sure that that vote was recorded? And can you see that? Can you show the screen to them? So now they're checking to make sure that what they told the clerk they voted is indeed accurate. Is it accurate? It is. All right. We're going to do this 2 more times. Do you like dogs? Will be the tough question before us. They don't have to like you, but do you like them? And I'm going to open the vote in just 1 moment. We don't normally go through it this slowly. Usually we're a little quicker, but this is because we're sharing the screen. All right, is the vote now open? The vote is now open. You have 20 seconds to tell us whether you like dogs. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Okay, the vote is now closed. With 171 yes to 32 no, there's a lot of dog lovers in here. Could you tell the clerk how you voted? And then check your votes. And the votes are correct. All right. For this last question, we're just going to do this regularly. And this is kind of wishful thinking on my part. I'll betray my non-neutrality on this one, I'm sorry. The question is, are you ready? Okay. The Celtics will win tonight's game against the 76ers? The vote is now open. You have 20 seconds to tell the future. I want to make sure kids are not voting. Like this is, you do not give the device. The vote is now closed. 164 believe yes, the Celtics will win tonight's game. 50 no. And what were your votes? Ooh. So you can see if it reflects it accurately. The votes are correct. Thank you very much to our audit lottery winners. All right. So now we will turn to the real motions. Those other things have no bearing on the way the future will go or what reality really is. This is the legislature right now. Article 1, I recognize Joshua Levine.
I move that the town vote to choose 3 trustees, Francis Miffett, William McGurk, and Aaron Kobler, to administer the William Goldthwait bequest.
Is there a second? Yep, motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
The Goldthwait bequest is an endowment fund left to the town of Longmeadow for assistance to the worthy poor of Longmeadow. The Board of Trustees administers this fund and makes expenditures from the accruing interest for applicants experiencing financial hardship. The trustees are chosen annually by town meeting.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll come directly to a vote. This requires a simple majority. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. The vote is now open. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 225 yes, 9 no, the yeses have it. The motion passes. Majority affirmative vote. Article 2. Mr. Levine.
I move that the town vote to transfer the sum of $15,602.12 from available funds in the Treasury, $161 from sewer retained earnings, $161 from water retained earnings, and $160.99 from stormwater retained earnings for the purpose of paying prior year's bills.
Motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
It was discovered after the town closed its fiscal year 2022 financial records that certain commitments involving DPW expenses related to elevator maintenance, police road detail, auto parts, time clock system, and electrical supplies remained outstanding. This appropriation will allow the town to make good on these commitments.
Thank you. I now call upon the Chair of the Finance Committee, Nora McKay, for recommendation from the Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll come directly to a vote. This requires a 4/5 majority vote. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. The vote is now closed. With 240 yes, 6 no, the vote passes with a 4/5 declared vote. Article 3, Mr. Levine.
I move that the town vote to transfer from available funds in the Treasury $115,000 for the purpose of implementing recommendations of a soon-to-be-completed town-wide IT study.
Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
An IT study is in process, and this warrant article will provide some funding to carry out recommendations in the study. The study includes inventory review, staffing structure, and overall operation of the IT department and services provided to the Long Meadow Public Schools and town departments.
Finance Committee recommendation?
The Finance Committee recommends this article. The committee previously voted at the meeting on March 22nd to not recommend because it felt there wasn't enough information available. That was the decision when the town warrant was sent to the publisher. At a subsequent meeting on April 26th, the town administrator was able to offer more information, at which point the committee voted to change its decision to recommend this article.
Thank you. Ms. McKay, could you say that again, please? There were some people who could not hear. Just speak right into the microphone.
My apologies. The Finance Committee recommends this article. The committee previously voted at the meeting on March 22nd to not recommend because it felt there wasn't enough information available. That was a decision when the town warrant was sent to the publisher. At a subsequent meeting on April 26th, the town administrator was able to offer more information, at which point the committee voted to change its decision to recommend this article.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we will come directly to a vote. This requires a simple majority. All those in favor, press 1. All those opposed, press 2. The vote is now open. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed with 192 yes, 52 no. The motion passes with a majority affirmative vote. And before I go on to the next one, I would just like to note that no signs are permitted in the gymnasium. If you happen to have brought a sign, please make sure it is flat and not leaning up against anything. Otherwise, we will remove the sign. Thank you. Mr. Gold.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to approve Articles 4 and 5 as part of the consent agenda.
Thank you. The motion for a consent agenda takes I'm sorry, is there a second? Is there a second? The motion for a consent agenda takes Article 4 and Article 5, and we vote on them together. If anyone wishes to hold out one of these articles for separate consideration, simply yell out the word hold when I say that article number. Article 4. Article 5. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll vote on the question of whether to approve Articles 4 and 5 together with one vote. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 232 yes, 19 no, the motion passes, majority affirmative vote. We shall now come to Article 6. Mr. Gold.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to transfer from available funds in the Treasury the sum of $169,397 to the Operating Stabilization Fund.
Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
Per policy of the Select Board, all free cash remaining at the end of the fiscal year shall be transferred to the Operation Stabilization Fund established by a vote of town meeting on November 18, 2003, pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5B. This will help improve future credit rating options. Our most recent one from Standard & Poor's states our rating could be raised if, quote, budgetary flexibility were to materially increase, including growth in reserve levels, along with making meaningful progress in mitigating its debt, OPEB, and pension liabilities, end quote. This article would help increase our reserve levels. The balance of the Operating Stabilization Fund as of January 31, 2023 is $7,926,645. The June 8, 2021 Standard & Poor's Global Rating Opinion can be read on the Finance Department's webpage on the town website.
Thank you. I recognize Finance Committee Chair, Ms. McKay.
The committee recommends this article.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we shall come directly to a vote. This requires a simple majority. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 241 yes, 14 no, the motion passes, majority affirmative vote. I'm sorry, yes at the yellow microphone. State your name and address, please.
Joel Arnold, 128 Blueberry Hill Road.
Yes?
I'd like to make a motion to advance Article 17 right after Article 8.
All right. A motion to advance. Is there a second? The motion has been made and seconded. You may speak to that motion, sir.
So this article is important to have in sequence with Article 8, where the majority of supporters for Article 8 are going to be present.
All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we shall come directly to a vote. And what this means is that after we finish Article 8, we will take Article 17 up next. This requires a 2/3 vote. We just need to put it into the computer system. We'll get there. Hold on. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 222 to 36, the motion passes with a 2/3 vote by declaration. We're proceeding to Article 7 at this point.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to fix the fiscal year 2024 salary and compensation of the moderator at $1,000 and the select persons at $2,000 each, to provide for a reserve fund, and to approve the fiscal year 2024 operating budget totaling $80,802,613, and as itemized as follows. General Government, $2,019,590. Public Safety, $6,140,690. Schools, $38,896,746. Department of $400,330. Debt service and town school employee retiree benefits, $983,000. $13, and to fund the fund, $183,580 from general taxation, and to fund the Water Enterprise Fund, $3,324,712 to be raised and appropriated as follows. $3,324,712 from water receipts, and to fund the Sewer Enterprise Fund, $2,252,011 to be raised and appropriated as follows. From sewer receipts, and to fund the Stormwater Enterprise, $1,242,310 from stormwater receipts, and $561,152 from general taxation.
Motion has been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
An annual operating budget must be adopted and funded for fiscal year 2024 that begins July 1st, 2023. The Select Board's budget was reviewed and recommended by the Finance Committee as required by the Town Charter. The Select Board's budget, as printed, is a balanced budget as required by Massachusetts general laws and the Charter. The Select Board's proposed budget is $80,802,613.
Finance Committee recommendation, please.
The committee recommends this article.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Oh, hold on one second. All right, go ahead. Name and address, please.
Roman Zheleznikov, 307 Green Hill Road. My question is, does this fund include anything that we would say no to in the further articles? Like, is this comprised of the entire budget that when you take account into the transferring funds and all the projects that we're going to do? Like, is this...
Mr. Gold?
Now, this is the town's operating budget. It's different from its capital budget. The capital budget is shown in the next article for capital. And then there are special appropriations from either free cash or other raised and appropriate. But this is the town's operating budget. Hopefully that's explained. So you should not see anything in this budget that we're re-voting on or superseding later.
And does it take into account the transfers within?
The transfer of money in the first 5 or 6.
Yes, this has taken into account the money that we've transferred. For example, money we put into the stabilization fund. That's the net after all this has been done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? We'll come directly to a vote on the motion under Article 7. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. This requires a simple majority. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 246 yes, 18 no, the motion passes, majority affirmative vote. Article 8, Mr. Gold.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the following amounts for capital projects, and that any remaining amounts from the capital projects be deposited in the Capital Stabilization Fund. From raise and appropriate in fiscal year 2024 for project development, $125,000. For project reserve, $25,000. For fire truck replacement reserve, $100,000. For ADA upgrades, playground replacement, $555,000. For the entry vestibule at Wolf Swamp Road School, $185,000. For school lock and access control upgrades for district-wide, $25,000. For the grounds department truck replacement, $80,000. For the highway department foreman truck replacement, $70,000. An electric vehicle for code enforcement, $50,000. Road paving and guardrail replacements, $481,000. Sidewalk reconstruction, $425,000. For a subtotal from raise and appropriate, $2,121,000. And from the capital stabilization fund for road paving guardrail replacements, $219,000 for grand total capital expenditures request of $2,340,000.
Is there a second? The motion has been made and seconded. You may speak to it, Mr. Gold.
Yes. Annually, the town appropriates funds for capital expenditures. The fiscal year 2024 capital plan is funded at 3% of the estimated general fund revenues, less debt exclusion taxation, as allotted for in their capital funding policy. The additional $219,000 comes from residual capital project balances closed out to the Capital Stabilization Fund as required by capital articles of previous years.
Thank you. Finance Committee recommendation, please.
The Finance Committee recommends this article. The committee previously voted at the meeting on March 22nd to not
Could you
recommend
speak a
this
little
article.
bit closer to the microphone, please?
Sorry.
Thank you.
The Finance Committee recommends this article. The committee previously voted at the meeting on March 22nd to not recommend this article because it felt the expenditure for ADA upgrades to the elementary school playgrounds was not supported. That was the decision when the town warrant was sent to the publisher. At a subsequent meeting on April 26th, the town administrator and the DPW director were both available and offered the committee deeper and more nuanced details about the project. At a meeting this evening, the committee voted 5-1 to recommend this article.
Thank you. Is there a school committee recommendation on this?
The school committee recommends this article.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Yes, state your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Arnold, and my address is 128 Blueberry Hill Road. As members of this community and parents of a physically disabled...
And just speak right, like put your face right at the mic.
Okay, there we go. Again, Jenny Arnold, 128 Blueberry Hill Road. As members of this community and parents of a physically disabled child wheelchair user, we are speaking up to express our full support of the Long Meadows DPW's application to the community, to the Preservation Committee, Capital Planning Committee, and Finance Committee to create accessible and inclusive playgrounds and playscapes at Blueberry Hill, Center, and Wolf Swamp elementary schools. Currently, the elementary school playgrounds lack inclusive and accessible features for students with disabilities and wheelchair users. The wood chips and structures present a significant safety risk and are not ADA compliant according to MMAB standards. An accessible play experience needs to be available for each of the playground experiences given to non-disabled children, or the playgrounds should be closed. Wheelchairs cannot be maneuvered on wood chip surfaces, and the loose material creates a tripping hazard for everyone. The recently installed rubber matting system was a quick fix to bring the surface up to code, but unfortunately promotes isolation and potential for bullying persons with a disability. The mats do not lead to any accessible playscape features or areas of refuge. They are simply paths to nowhere. The surfaces and structures are grossly out of ADA compliance. All children deserve the right to play. Currently, children with a range of disabilities are secluded to a small section of blacktop because they cannot safely navigate the terrain like their peers. This applies to children with mobility, visual, cognitive, and invisible disabilities. Public playgrounds have an important role in fostering inclusiveness, health, and play equity. Accessibility is not a luxury. Our daughter has tipped over in her wheelchair on the playground surface, resulting in injury. She has gotten stuck in the wood chips, requiring a teacher to radio a custodian for backup. There is no dignity in losing your independence and mobility because your town doesn't see you as equal, while multiple people try to free you and your friends look on. Kids instinctually want to include each other, but when schools exclude disabled children, non-disabled kids assume that's how it should be. Are we sure this is the lesson we want them to learn? Improving the playgrounds will help our schools live up to their mission and prove to our disabled citizens that they are valued. All students, regardless of race, color, sex, gender identity, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, disability, or homelessness, have equal access to the general education program and the full range of any occupational or vocational programs offered by the district. This is our district motto. So to wrap it up, we humbly request you to vote yes in support of DPW's application to create safe, inclusive, and equitable play spaces for our children.
Thank you. Next. I'm sorry, there's no clapping. Excuse me. We are in a gym. We still, however, may not cheer or jeer. Just as you wouldn't want anybody to boo, I can't allow clapping after every speech. And so I appreciate your patience and adherence to the rules. Next up, name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Heather Goldstein, 242 Pinewood Drive. On January 26, 2023, I submitted a petition to the Community Preservation Committee for the ADA Playground Update request, and I wanted to read that petition.
If I may, we are focused on Article 8 right now, so
Yes.
keep your remarks to Article 8 and why
It's about the playground.
Okay, but
Is that okay?
just focus on why this fund should be used for this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, 324 people signed this petition because they felt that the playground was not up to date and wanted there to be changes made to that playground. So many of those families are here tonight. Many couldn't be here tonight to support, and I know that they would support this article because they signed this petition that was submitted, and that was in 5 days. We collected 324 signatures.
Article 8. Keep
For
the
Article 8.
Yeah. Keep the focus on
Article 8. Sorry, I'm new to this.
And I get it. So I'm trying to help you along here.
People felt that the playground, as part of Article 8, was not inclusive, and vote to want to have that more inclusive. Is that better?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next up.
Good evening, Sean Kenny, 2 Hilltop Road. I'm speaking in support of Article 8. I'm a dad of 2 children, 2 daughters who go to Blueberry Hill School. This issue was brought up by elected officials to the Blueberry Hill School Committee back 5 years ago, saying that this playground was not ADA compliant. The fact that nothing's been done since then is a shame. Our daughter comes home every day from school, much like I'm assuming several of these other children come home saying recess is one of the best parts of their day. And we're not allowing that for certain members of our community, and that's a shame. So this article should pass. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Kara Stevens. I live at 226 Coventry Lane in Longmeadow with my husband Matt and 2 children who are in 1st and 5th grade at Blueberry Hill School. I'm here tonight in support of Article 8 to partially fund inclusive, ADA-compliant playgrounds at the 3 elementary schools in Longmeadow. I'm a certified public accountant with a doctorate degree in finance. I understand budgetary constraints and tax concerns. I've read the articles in detail and understand a yes vote on Article 8 will not raise our taxes, and a no vote will simply mean the money is allocated to other capital improvement projects. My husband and I moved to Longmeadow primarily because of the school system. Longmeadow has proved to be a lovely place to raise our active family. However, I do believe we often live in a bubble here in Longmeadow and neglect to expose this town as significantly lacking in areas of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. When I envision the community that I want to raise my children in, I would love them to be in a community that not only talks about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, but puts it into action. The current state of our elementary school playgrounds are shameful. Aside from currently not being ADA compliant and past their useful life, they certainly don't promote a sense of inclusion and belonging for all children in our community. Wood chips and plastic kitchen mats leading to literally nowhere is a slap in the face to our community seeking equitable opportunities for play. Changing the surface of the playground still leaves many children without anything to do at recess. How is that good for a child's social and emotional learning? How is that including all children and making everyone feel like they belong? This is not the type of community I want to raise my children in. The future generation is watching us tonight, and ending tonight with a yes vote for Article 8 to upgrade inclusive ADA-compliant playgrounds will show all children in Longmeadow that us adults are putting into action the notion that every child should be included, every child should feel like they belong, and every child deserves to play. This is a no-brainer. Please do what is right and vote for Article 8. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, appreciate that. Next up.
My name is Elizabeth Shenoy. I live at 35 Lees Lane in Long Meadow. I have 2 children, one in 1st grade and one in 5th grade at Blueberry Hill. I'll keep it short, but I want to speak in support of Article 8. The past few years have been really tough on the children in our community and children everywhere, especially those with disabilities and mobility issues, handicap. They deserve a place to play, and I think that it would be something for Long Meadow to be proud of if we can make the structures at our school something that all of our children can enjoy, every single one of them enjoy together, which is what they want. They want to have fun, they want to be together and play with all of their friends.
Thank you. At the yellow microphone, yes, sir.
Louis Robin, 942 Long Meadow Street. 5 people having spoken in favor and no one on the opposing.
Just make the motion.
I'd like to move the question, please.
Thank you. The motion for the previous question has been moved. Is there a second? Okay, and just to explain that, especially to those folks standing in line, Long Meadow has a bylaw that states that if someone wants to move to end debate, to stop talking and come directly to a vote on the main motion, that we do what's called a motion for the previous question. This is not a debatable motion. It can only be made after 5 people have spoken in favor and 5 have spoken against. Since no one has risen to stand up at the mic in opposition, no one is standing up to argue against this, the motion is still permitted at this time. So what we will do is vote on whether we want to end debate. So ending debate, so this next vote that we are about to take is about whether we're going to end the debate. You can vote yes or you can vote no, but a 2/3 vote will end debate, and then we will come directly to a vote on the main motion of Article 8. I hope that's clear. So again, this vote is whether or not we wish to end debate. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes to end debate. Press 2 for no to continue debate. Five seconds left. Close the vote. Motion is now the vote is now closed. The motion to end debate has been approved by 230 yes and 26 no, and that is above a 2/3 majority or 2/3 vote. So now we will end debate and come directly to a vote on the motion on Article 8. This motion, pardon me? This motion requires a 2/3 vote. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 243 yes, 33 no, I declare a 2/3 majority vote. We shall now come to Article 17. Mr. Lacusa.
I move that the town vote to fund the Community Preservation Project for replacing, repairing, or augmenting the playgrounds at Blueberry Hill School, Wolf Swamp School, Center School, consistent with the achieving the ADA accessibility standards in the amount of $125,000 from the Community Preservation Open Space and Recreation Fund and $430,000 from the Community Preservation Undesignated Fund.
Is there a second?
Second.
You may speak to it, Mr. Lacusa.
The goal of this project is to provide some of the funding to modernize the elementary school playgrounds to meet safety and ADA accessibility standards consistent with the active recreation area conditions assessment study commissioned by the town. The total project for all three playgrounds is anticipated at $1,900,000, with other funding coming from the fiscal year 2024 capital improvement program and potentially the town's American Rescue Plan allegation.
Thank you. Finance Committee recommendation, please.
The Finance Committee recommends this.
Thank you. So for discussion? Yes. Name and address.
Moderator Townsend, and thank you, esteemed town leadership. I'm speaking on
Name
behalf...
and address first, please.
Oh,
Thank you, though.
I'm Dan Murphy, 100 Normandy Road, Longmeadow, Mass. 01106. And I got cut from the last line, so I decided to speak now. I'm in favor of this, and I really think we should vote it, and let's go for it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up.
Ken C. Gillet, 39 Circle Road. I have 3 kids in the LPS system, 2 of them at Wolf Swamp and 1 at Glenbrook. I'm also a licensed mental health counselor with over a decade treating kids with social, emotional, behavioral issues. I do know that the learning that takes place during active physical play is vital to child development, and ensuring that all of our playgrounds provide a space for all kids with different ability levels to engage in that is a part of education. And if we're trying to ensure that all of our students have access to the highest degree and the most comprehensive education, we should fund these projects to ensure that they can engage in learning through active physical play. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we will come directly to a vote on the motion under Article 17. This requires a simple majority. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. The vote passes. The motion passes with a 253 to 24 majority affirmative vote. Thank you. We shall now go to Mr. Zwerko.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I move that the town vote to approve Articles 9 and 10 as part of a consent agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. This motion requires you to, again, hold if you want to consider either Article 9 or 10 separately. When I call out the number, just yell out hold if you'd like to hold it. 9, 10. All right, we'll come directly to a vote on the consent agenda. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds. The vote is now closed with 182 to 10. The motion passes, majority affirmative vote.
Madam Moderator.
Article 11, yep.
Article 11. I move that the town vote to appropriate $477,450.29 from the state for highway improvements under the authority of Mass General Law, Chapter 90, including funds to be received in FY 2024 or any applicable laws, and to authorize the Select Board, if necessary, to apply for, accept, borrow in anticipation of state aid and expand such funds.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
The state annually allocates to the town a sum of money to be spent on town roads. This amount must be appropriated by town meeting. The town spends the money first and is then reimbursed by the state upon completion of the project.
Finance Committee recommendation, please. Thank you.
The Finance Committee recommends this.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing, are you speaking? Okay. Seeing none, we'll come directly to a vote. This requires a 2/3 vote. Vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 205 yes, 6 no, the motion passes with a 2/3 vote.
Madam Moderator, I move.
Just hold on 1 second. I gotta write my notes. I'm a little slow. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Article 12.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to appropriate the sum of $450,000 to purchase a fire department ambulance, and that is to meet this appropriation. The treasurer, with the approval of the Select Board, is authorized to borrow said amount under and pursuant to General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7(1), or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes of the town.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
The purpose of this article is to allow the fire department to order and enter into a build contract for an ambulance. These vehicles have very long lead times. For example, ambulance, 25 months. Approving this article will allow the fire department to place this order and enter into a build contract to stay on the vehicle replacement schedule. Although a contract will be signed to order the ambulance is not paid for until it is delivered. It is anticipated that prior to this vehicle's arrival, the ambulance fund will have sufficient funds to pay for the ambulance. The intention would be to appropriate the funds from the ambulance fund and to rescind this request at a future town meeting due to having the funding available from the ambulance fund. This article simply allows the order to be placed knowing that a funding source has been clearly identified.
Thank you. Finance Committee recommendation, please.
The committee recommends this article.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll come directly to a vote. This requires a 2/3 vote. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. And the vote is now closed. With 196 yes to 18 no, the motion passes with a 2/3 majority vote affirmative. Article 13, Mr. Zwerko.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to appropriate the sum of $525,000 to purchase a fire engine for the fire department, and that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the Select Board, is authorized to borrow said amount under and pursuant to General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7(1), or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes of the town.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
The purpose of this article is to allow the fire department to order and enter into a build contract for a fire truck. This vehicle has a very long lead time, for example, a fire truck, 36 to 40 months. Approving this article will allow the fire department to place this order and enter into a build contract to stay on the vehicle replacement schedule. Although a contract will be signed to order the fire truck is not paid for until it is delivered. It is anticipated that when this vehicle finally arrives, the fire truck fund will have sufficient funds to pay for the fire truck. The balance of the fire truck fund is anticipated to be $557,584 as of July 2023. The remaining balance of this purchase is programmed in the capital plan. Providing that the annual investment plan as outlined in the capital plan continues, this fund will have enough funding for this purchase. The intention would be to appropriate the funding from the fire truck fund and rescind this request at a future town meeting due to having the funding available for the fire truck fund. This article simply allows to be placed knowing that a funding source has been clearly identified.
Thank you. Finance Committee recommendation, please.
The committee recommends this article.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll come directly to a vote. This requires a 2/3 vote. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 194 yes, 12 no, the motion passes with a 2/3 affirmative vote. Article 14, Mr. Lacusa.
I move that the town vote to authorize the treasurer to borrow the sum of $550,000 for the purpose of purchasing a new sewer jet, and that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the select board, is authorized to borrow said amount under the pursuant to General Law C-4471, or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes of the town to be repaid in the first instance from sewer system rates and charges.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
The article is to pay for a new jet truck. The current jet truck was purchased in 2009 and has 60,000 miles on it. It is used 6 hours daily to clean out sewer and stormwater systems in order to maintain the systems in working order. Continuous repairs have been made to this vehicle, including a septic holding tank. These repairs have cost $11,000 in the past year. The estimated useful life of a jet truck is 10 years. The current vehicle is 14 years old and is no longer reliable. Daily operation of the jet truck is essential to prevent backups into private properties, as well as to keep us compliant with MS4 permit. The lead time to get a new truck is currently about 2 to 3 years.
Finance Committee recommendation, please.
The committee recommends this article.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll come directly to a vote. This requires a 2/3 vote. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 192 yes, 18 no, the motion passes with a 2/3 majority affirmative vote. Mr. Lacusa?
Consent Agenda 3 will consider Articles 15 and 16 in a grouping unless town meeting decides to pull an article out of the consent agenda for a separate discussion.
Second.
No, I'm sorry. Could you make a motion to do that? Say, I move that we consider.
Okay.
Please.
I move that the town accepts consent agenda 3 to consider Articles 15 and 16 in a grouping rather than the town meeting. All right, I move the town approve Articles 15 and 16 as part of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. If you want to hold out consideration of Article 15 or 16, call out hold when I call their numbers. 15, 16. All right, we'll come directly to a vote on the motion to consider Articles 15 and 16 together as part of a consent agenda. This requires a simple majority. The vote is now open. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed with 178 yes, 7 no. The motion passes, majority affirmative vote. Article 18, Mr. Lacusa.
I move that the town vote to fund the Community Preservation Project for renovating the fields at Glenbrook Middle School in the amount of $50,000 from the Community Preservation Undesignated Fund.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
The Little League and softball fields at the schools are overgrown and uneven and in need of long overdue upgrades. This project will provide funding to obtain the engineering specification studies to renovate the fields and the funds to level and add clay to the fields.
Finance Committee recommendation?
The committee recommends this article.
Thank you. I see that there's evenly dispersed discussion. Since we just heard a speech in favor, we'll turn to Mr. Gold at the red microphone first.
Thank you. Mark Gold, 129 Avondale Road. I'm asking that the town vote down this article. Not that I oppose the renovation of the playground or the ball fields, because it does need it. In fact, the town just spent a considerable amount of money and effort reseeding those fields, and so they are being reseeded. They have been reseeded, and the grass has grown, and so they're in acceptable condition for this season. Anything we do now would not be approved anyway, and the reason I'm asking for this to be deferred is because Glenbrook Middle School is in play, if you will, with our proposal or plan to potentially redo schools. And it would be a shame to approve money, spend money on improving these fields, and then turn around and use that field for maybe a school, maybe just staging for construction or something else. We can defer this until the fall. By then, our study and plan for the middle schools will be completed. We'll know whether these fields are going to be utilized or not in some other way, and then spend the money appropriately. But in my opinion, to spend this money now, or approve this money now, when nothing's going to be done for this season anyway, is inappropriate, because that money can better be spent if and when we know what we're actually going to do with those fields. And so I recommend we vote this down today, and then if we do, we can bring it back up in the fall. Thank you.
Thank you. At the yellow microphone?
Yeah, Roman Zheleznikov, 307 Green Hill Road. I actually had that same question on, because we know we're either combining the middle schools, but I had a second type of question because of that. Because of the Eversource situation, are there also considerations for the elementary schools within that structured projects?
Well, I'm trying to get a sense of your question. This is about Glenbrook Middle School?
Yes.
So if you could just say that a little differently?
Yeah. So basically, just like to understand what's happening with that process of combining schools. Has any headway been done in order for us to assess? Because I think the other article said that, you know, if we approve this now, we're ordering the trucks, but we'll pay for them in 2 years or 3 years. Is this that same type of?
I'll allow this question. I will ask our school committee chair if they can address the status of the schools in the building.
I'm going to refer to a timeline that we have, just conservative numbers, is that it will be winter of 2024 before the feasibility study is underway. We expect in the spring of 2023 through the winter of 2024 to secure a consultant for the feasibility study, as well as a project manager and designer. And the feasibility study through winter of 2024 would assess existing conditions, as well as evaluate any needed educational space, et cetera. So by fall might be outside of our conservative estimates.
Does that address your question, sir, or do you want to
Yes,
allow one more follow-up?
One question. I know in the last meeting that we had, one of the ideas was to combine the schools. So is it possible that Glenbrook Middle School will go away and you'll have one school in Williams? Is that?
Ms. Chouanier?
Sure. So unfortunately, it's a little early to be able to thoroughly answer that question. That would be information that comes out of the feasibility study. So the first thing to do is to secure the consultant for the feasibility study, then to conduct that feasibility study. And once that's done, that will give us as a town options to discuss about where we want to go from there.
Thank you.
Yep.
At the green mic, yes.
Josh Levine, 78 Farmington Avenue. I know as well as anybody that we don't have a lot of money to throw around. But as a softball parent, I go all to towns in the area and am shocked at the state that our fields are in. We're getting better, but Glenbrook especially has been really rough. And we got some grass put in, and I'm very happy with that, but I'd like to get us over the finish line and get better infields for our kids. We got a lot of kids who play there, and they deserve to play on fields that they're not going to get injured on, and that they can be proud of. And I know we may only get 4 or 5 years out of it if that does come up, but I consider that money well spent. $10,000 a year to support our kids, our young kids who play Little League and softball, I think is money well spent.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Samantha Schrager. I live at 55 Morningside. I have 2 daughters who play softball. They both attend or attended Glenbrook Middle School and play on those fields. And this whole meeting really has been about safe, equitable opportunities for the kids in this town. And fixing the fields at Glenbrook goes right along with addressing the problems at our elementary school playgrounds. Those fields are not safe. They have not been maintained. And this article would take care of that problem for the next few years. I think, as the school board has already made very clear, nothing is going to be happening anytime soon with those middle schools, and our kids are ready to play right now. That material is ready to be delivered right now and put down on those fields to make them safe, playable, and give our kids the best experience we can provide. I'm trying to remember what Mr. Gold said so I can address some of his concerns. I think the other thing that we should be focusing on, since we're talking about paying for fire trucks that we're not going to have, and I know, 18, is that we're planning for the future and trying to be responsible, equitably, to be responsible with our town finances. And putting off this project, it's going to get done eventually. Those fields need to be fixed. And the survey will show those fields need to be fixed. But putting it off is only going to make the project that much more expensive. If this project had been funded a year ago, it would have been significantly cheaper than it's going to be now. And those prices, just like fire trucks and everything else, are just going to go up and up and up. So I hope everybody who stayed, thank you, supports this article, because it is really important for our kids and shows them how much we care about them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Scott Arndt, 66 Colony.
You may speak.
So I moved to this town from Suffield, Connecticut when I was 4 years old, 1984. I grew up in this town, and I remember my childhood. I remember the things that had an impact on me. Given the pandemic and that our kids were all staring into their phones for years, you know, the trauma that put them through, I can't think of anything more healthy and productive for this town to do than put some money into the kids, where they can develop friendships, you know, camaraderie, thinking skills, learning how look how serious our town has always taken sports. Where do you guys think the fundamentals for that stuff comes from? It comes from parks when they're kids. We're planting seeds for our future. We're not going to be around forever. They're going to be around a lot longer than we are. This is an investment in our future. To say that, you know, we should wait because we don't know how it's going to happen, to me, it's madness, utter madness. The fact that it's going to take 3 years to get the ball rolling means it's even more important to do it right now and not wait. Right now. The fact that it's $50,000, look at all the other money we're spending in this town. $50,000, I argue they need $150,000. We need to vote this yes tonight, no question.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening. Stephen Weiss, 25 Hilltop Road. I'm the chair of the Community Preservation Committee. I'd like to explain a little bit about our analysis of what we approved and why. What we approved, first of all, is money for basically the resurfacing of the fields, putting down clay, getting the specs necessary to know how much has to be ordered, having clay put down, getting them leveled, getting them seeded. We're very mindful of the fact that at some point in the future, this field may be used for constructing a new middle school. But that day, before, as we understand it, before ground is broken, could be 3 to 5 years. And for that reason, we did not approve, as part of the application, things like dugouts, fencing, a stairway, or a stone stairway that would have gone down from the parking lot. We just wanted to provide some money for the improvement of the fields. And as somebody at one of our meetings pointed out, if you're a child, waiting 3 to 5 years effectively means you don't get the benefit of the improvement of those fields at all. So that's why we approved what we did. This will allow the fields to be improved and be used for at least a 3 to 5 year period before anything's really done there. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Stephen Metz, 171 Coventry Lane. I'd like to call the question.
We need one more person to speak in favor or 4 more to speak opposed. So it's not quite in order. Hold on a minute.
Do I come?
Yes.
Nicole Cantorini, 139 Shadyside Drive.
You may speak.
So we need, I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared to speak, but I feel strongly about this. I'm on the board of the Little League Baseball, and we also work very closely with Little League Softball. There are over 18 teams right now for baseball that play on Glenbrook, and we don't even use all the fields. The Little League Softball has over 8 teams, and we also have teams from outside of Longmeadow that come to those fields. And like it's been said before, it is embarrassing for teams from all over Western Mass to come to our town. They think Longmeadow is, you know, what Longmeadow is. You know, we're proud to be part of this town. We're proud to be able to spend money where we feel it's necessary. And then they come and play on our fields that the grass is overgrown. There's no infield. We're lucky if we have bases. We didn't have bases on our field for half the season. And that's embarrassing. And we want these kids to grow up and continue playing sports and not be discouraged, parents not discouraged. We need to do this now. And this, like we said, it's $50,000 for maybe the next few years. That's pennies from what we are spending everywhere else. And this is going to benefit our future, all of our children. And I ask that everybody vote yes.
Thank you. Yes, at the yellow microphone.
Yep, Jamie Hench, 40 Eastham Lane. I just have a general question. I'm not a big fan of wasting money. This does sound like a waste of money. And my question is the following. Out of the 18 other baseball fields in town and softball fields, why are we choosing these fields and not one behind any of the other schools, and who made that decision?
I'm going to ask for Mr. Weiss, the chair of the Community Preservation Committee, to address that question, please.
Oh, yeah, you're for.
The simple answer is that this is the latest in a series of applications that have been before the CPC to renovate Russell Field, the fields at Turner Park, and put in dugouts there and do a number of other things. This is one that was presented to us, but it's not the first. So that's why. It's one of a series that's been done over time and funded by the CPC.
Thank you.
So my question
would be...
would
You have a follow-up question?
Yep, follow-up question. My question would be, why not the ones behind Blueberry, Glenbrook, Bliss Road that all need to be renovated? Williams Middle School, why these fields at a school where there's concerns about what the status will be long-term. So that would be my question, is maybe there's a better school out there or field out there that might be more appropriate.
Are you looking for the answer, Mr. Weiss?
Yeah.
Why not the others?
I guess why not Blueberry,
Yep, why not the other
Bliss
schools?
Road? There's 5 fields
got
right
it.
there, or Williams.
Again, the simple answer is we only evaluate applications that are made to us. This is one of the ones that was made to us this year. If other applications had come in this year, we would have evaluated those. If other applications come in next year, we'll be happy to evaluate those.
Thank you. All right, next in line for.
Am I allowed to have another
I'm sorry,
follow-up?
no,
No?
we've got to move on. Yes?
Hi, I'm back. Can I answer Mr. Hench's question?
I don't know whether you can or can't. So
Hi,
just state your name and address and give
Let
an
me
argument.
reintroduce myself.
Hold on,
I'm
hold on one
Samantha
second. Hold
Schrager.
on one second.
Sure.
Okay, so state your name, address, that bit, and then you can make an argument in favor of this proposal.
Again, my name is Samantha Schrager. I still live at 55 Morningside. And I'm still here speaking on behalf of the Longmeadow Softball Association. To answer your question quickly, why Glenbrook? That is where 4 fields exist. There are no softball fields or baseball fields behind Blueberry. Longmeadow Softball has already had a grant and done a huge amount of fundraising to improve the fields at Russell, which is where the high school softball team plays, and at Turner. The only other softball fields in Longmeadow for kids to play on are at Glenbrook Middle School. There used to be fields at Will Swamp. They are gone. So that is why the fields that we are looking to improve are the fields at Glenbrook. That's where the children play.
Thank you. Next in line.
Hello, Kara Stevens, 226 Coventry Lane. I wasn't prepared to talk about this topic, but I do just want to say that my daughter in 5th grade does play softball and has since 2nd grade, and the Glenbrook fields are awful. We have people coming in from towns, the girls practice there, and when the wind blows, the dirt just comes into your eyes and you can't play. My daughter wears contacts, and those kind of things that shouldn't really be happening, I think, in a town like this. So I know that money doesn't grow on trees, but I would like to just put it out there that the fields are embarrassing and really make it hard for the girls to play. And I do think other sports do get more money allocated to them than girls softball does. Right now we have a 12U softball team that there's only 1 team in town. So to try to do things to show respect for this sport that the girls are interested in playing like we do for other sports, I think would be beneficial.
Thank you. And sir, I'm going to recognize the man who's right behind you, as he has not yet spoken.
James Sullivan, 70 Avondale Road, Longmeadow. What I find very disheartening is the fact that there are no trash cans at a lot of these ball fields. I mean, where are people going to put trash? Then they take them in, their trash cans during the wintertime. People litter all the time.
And
This common sense would tell you, leave the cans out at all the fields. Thank you.
A reminder to keep your remarks to the motion. Mr. Hench.
Yep. Jamie Hench, 40 Eastham Lane. Just one last question. Are we planning on addressing the fields for all of the sports? I have no issue with softball, baseball, but are we addressing them for all of the sports that are participating there? Because it did not sound like it. Are they taking care of the lacrosse as well as soccer, as well as I believe field hockey plays out there as well, or is this destined just for those 2 sports?
Thank you. I'm going to ask for our Parks and Recreation. Do we have our Parks and, is there someone from Parks and Recreation or from DPW to address the fields? Hold on one second.
Oh, it's finally in order.
No, but in terms of is there a plan, is it either yes or no? Yeah. So this question goes a little bit beyond, a little bit beyond, is there a plan I'm going to ask the town manager for a simple answer on plans for recreation fields. Ms. Simmons?
In terms of recreation fields throughout the entire town, yes, we have an active recreation area conditions assessment taking place right now. The survey's up till the end of the week. There's a QR code outside in the hall. Please take that survey because your feedback is critical to what the outcome of that report says. In terms of the specific question about improvements to Glenbrook and how it will impact the other sports, I can't speak to that because this was not a town application. It was by a resident. But it does have some money in there for engineering that would be used for the entire field.
Thank you. And forgive me, you're going to have to be very kind to each other. I'm not sure who was up first. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I hope I'm now in order, Madam Moderator. I'd like to call the question.
All right, hold on a second. It is now in order. Is there a second? Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. Hold on one second. I'm just going to make a note of this. The motion is for the previous question. We will come directly to a vote if this motion passes. So this is a question about, this vote is about whether to stop debate. A motion to call the question requires a 2/3 vote. You are voting on whether to stop debate on Article 18. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes to end debate. Press 2 for no to keep talking. Five seconds. The vote is now closed with 185 yes to 9 no. This passes by a 2/3 vote in the affirmative. We shall now come directly to a vote on the main motion, which requires a simple majority. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 157 yes, 46 no, the motion passes with a majority affirmative vote. Now turn to Mr. Hamabathy.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to approve Articles 19, 20, 21, and 22 as part of a consent agenda.
The motion has been made and seconded. If you wish to consider Articles 19, 20, 21, or 22 separately, call out hold when I call that number. 19. 19 has been held. 20. 21. 22. Okay, so what we're going to do is vote on Articles 20, 21, and 22 together. After this vote, then we'll get to Article 19. So the vote is now open. This requires a, oh, no, I'm sorry, it is not yet open. I jumped the gun. I didn't ask before. The vote is now open now. And this is for 20, 21, and 22 to approve together. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. The vote is now closed. The motion passes 128 to 6, and that's a majority affirmative vote. Hold on one second. On Articles 20, 21, and 22. Article 19.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to fund the community preservation project to retain qualified trail contractors to execute a mapping and conditions assessment of Long Meadows public trails in the amount of $11,360 from the Community Preservation Undesignated Fund.
Motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
This project will provide funding to use GPS technology to provide GPS mapping of the trails in Laurel Park, Bliss Park, Turner Park, and the Fanny Stebbins Memorial Silvio Conti Wildlife Refuge, and to provide an assessment of trail conditions and recommendations for repair and maintenance of the trails.
Finance Committee recommendation, please.
The committee recommends this article.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll come directly to a vote on Article 19. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds. The vote is now closed with 122 yes to 23 no. The motion passes with a majority affirmative vote. Mr. Hemavati.
I move that the town vote to approve Articles 23, 24, 25, and 26 as part of a consent agenda.
Motion's been made and seconded. If you wish to hold any of these, call out hold at the number. 23, 24, 25, 26. We shall now come directly to a vote on Articles 23, 24, 25, and 26. The vote is now open. This requires a simple majority. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 114 yes, 11 no, the motion passes. Those four articles are approved with a majority affirmative vote. Mr. Mufti.
Madam Moderator, I move to take no action on Article 27.
Is there a second? The motion is made and seconded. You may speak to this.
The proponents of the article no longer wish to advance it. By disposing of the article in a neutral manner, it preserves the article to be brought back at town meeting within 2 years.
Any further discussion? Now, to be clear, explaining what a motion to take no action is, it is not an affirmative, it is not a negative. Seeing no further discussion, we'll come directly to a vote. This requires a simple majority. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 118 yes to 13 no, the motion to take no action on Article 27 has been approved by a majority affirmative vote. Mr. Levine.
I move that the town vote to approve Articles 28, 29, 30, and 31 as a consolidated motion.
Second.
Okay, a consolidated motion is a motion where we take all of them together. This is different than a consent agenda. Did you wish to speak to this motion, Mr. Levine?
Please. Each of the bylaws addressed in Articles 28, 29, 30, and 31 are intertwined with each other and are all required to conform with the federal MS4 permit. If any one of these articles were to fail individually while others pass, it would result in disagreement among the town bylaws and non-compliance with the MS4 permit. Disagreement among town bylaws would leave the town liable to legal action, and non-compliance with the MS4 permit will leave the town liable to enforcement actions from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. Such enforcement action could take the form of fines, consent decrees, and/or denial of funding opportunities such as grants.
Any questions about the motion to take Articles 28, 29, 30, and 31 as part of a consolidated motion? Seeing none, we will come directly to a vote. This requires a simple majority. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. The vote is now open. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed with 115 yes, 4 no. The motion passes with a majority affirmative vote. Hold on 1 second. Article 32.
I move that the town vote to adopt the changes to Chapter 315 of the Code of the Town of Longmeadow zoning as written in the warrant.
Motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
The purpose of the proposed revisions to the zoning bylaw are to ensure that zoning requirements align with the updated general bylaws and to clarify that projects 1 acre or larger require an application for stormwater management and land disturbance permit. The MS4 permit requires that the town identify and remove barriers to low-impact development in our code governing land use and land cover, so there are additional proposed revisions that amend area and dimensional standards, site and design review applications, contents and design standards, and update standards for street and parking lot design. Note that none of the proposed revisions in the zoning bylaw affect single-family property allowable uses or design standards.
Thank you. I'm going to ask for the planning board recommendation now, please.
The planning board recommends Article 32.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we will come directly to a vote. This requires a 2/3 vote. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. And the vote is now closed with 103 yes, 9 no. The motion passes with a 2/3 declaration vote. Article 33, Mr. Gold.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to accept the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 41, Section 110A, as written in the warrant.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
With the recent change in voter registration deadlines moving from 20 days to 10 days, the deadline to register to vote in an election will fall on a Saturday. Accepting this general law will move the deadline to register for vote to the following Monday pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 4, Section 9. This will save on overtime and election worker expenses.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll come directly to a vote. This requires a simple majority. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed. With 111 yes and 11 no, the motion passes with a majority affirmative vote. Article 34, Mr. Gold.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to amend Section 315-8, Enforcement of the Code of the Town of Long Meadow zoning as written in the warrant.
Motion's been made and seconded. You may speak to it.
In 2022, voters at the October special town meeting approved the hiring of 2 code enforcement officers to assist the building commissioner in enforcement duties. Through the underlined words in the article listed in the warrant, this proposed revision in the zoning bylaw will officially enable the building commissioners to delegate enforcement powers to the new code enforcement officers and to delineate the building commissioner's authority between zoning enforcement officer and building commissioner.
Planning Board recommendation, please. Ms. Thibodeau?
The Planning Board recommends Article 34.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we shall come directly to a vote. This requires a 2/3 vote. The vote is now open. Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Mr. Gold. Five seconds left. The vote is now closed with 98 yes, 22 no. The motion passes with a 2/3 affirmative vote. We have one more motion before us tonight, and it's a pretty important one. What's that, Mr. Gold? A motion to dissolve the 2023 annual town meeting has been made. Is there a second? There is a second. Any discussion? I don't see anybody at the mic. All those in favor? Oh, yeah, let's just do this way. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. All right, it's unanimous. I declare the 2023 annual town meeting dissolved. Have a good night. Record time. Record time. Oh my God. Nicely done, y'all. I know, that's what I asked you. I'm asking you.
It took a while. We got that, right?
Thank you. Unanimous.
10 years. I was waiting for you to get lectured as usual. It's sort of tradition, right?